actually make chords that go directly from the guitar into the mic packs we already have.
Right.
So we don't need to buy a new thing.
No,
it's just a chord.
Well, assuming you, right, obviously mine doesn't have that.
No, yours doesn't, but mine does.
Right, so, and I have it too. Like, I have the chord. Wait, where does yours go from? Oh, in there?
Yep.
That's
Yeah, it's a 1/4 inch pickup.
oh, cool. So, and I have that. Oh, 1/4 inch to I think 3.5 millimeter.
Yeah, so that's exactly what it is.
And the 3.5 millimeter goes
Right. Yeah.
What time is it now? I got 6:59. You know what that means, don't you? One more minute, and then we'll start. What was that song that they were singing at, that I played for you? Obviously, the video still from Nava to Eli. It's called Into the Wilderness, or... Did you all cite like that?
Yep. All right, we're going to get started. Even the fact that there are people outside, they're schmoozing out there, and we're going to, get going in here. So welcome, Shabbat Shalom. Happy to see you. I'm glad everyone's here. And look, clearly, we have the case of people realize that now that all the holidays are over, it's like business as usual, and only like the hardcore people come, and we're so grateful to you for that. We are going to start, I didn't even bring any of my stuff with me, but that's okay. I'll get one of those in a second. We're going to start with, on page 130, with Lechu Neranena. I'll get one more.
Lechu Neranena Ladonai Nariha Litzur Ishenu Lechu Neranena Ladonai Nariha Litzur Ishenu Nekan Havana Betona Bismirot Nariha Lo Lechu Neranena Ladonai Nariha Litzur Ishenu Nekan Havana Betona Bismirot Nariha Lo Ki El Gadol Adonai Umelech Gadol Al-Kol Elohim Asher Beyado Mekarev
grateful that you are all here, as I mentioned before, and look, we just kind of like doubled our numbers just in the moments of that. Lechun Ran and I will do that to you every time. Cool. By the way, Cantor, I just want you to know that I was talking with someone today who said that one of their favorite parts of services is the banter.
Oh,
Our banter.
okay.
So it's like, you know, that just shows that every time I like turn over with who knows what I'm about to come out of my mouth, it may be a little unnerving for everybody else, but this one person really likes it. All right, so we continue with the lighting of the Shabbat candles, and we're happy to invite Maggie Stouffer to join us here on the bima with her mom, Liz. You want to come up to Liz? You can stay. Oh, first day with the new shoes, you know. Come right over here. Run right here. And we're on page 120. I'll get that in a second. Don't worry about it. Hold that. And you're going to read from here to there. Okay? No, we'll take care of that. You just do from here to there.
As these Shabbat candles,
Give light. Yeah, 121.
as these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Nice. Now's your chance. That match and hold it. Close, hold close to the tip. And then move it away. That's okay. We got plenty. Oh, I forgot your left hand. You got it. Nice. Do that one first. And you got like an hour with that thing. It's a stick. Go underneath it.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now we're on page 123 as we continue with Kiddush. So I'll hold this for you while you do this for you. And we'll do the rest of it. So
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen.
perfect. Baruch
Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav.
v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tefillah lemikrae kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon imrazanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat.
Put it back there, and I'll see you back up here about now. 45 minutes to an hour. All right. Good start. We got through the 13-year-old drinking wine and lighting matches portion of our Shabbat service. Lighting fireworks will be the next thing that we do inside the building. Adonai Oz, may God grant strength unto our people and bless us with peace. You can find it on page 137.
Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai Oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yivarech et amo.
I remember when I was I didn't put it in this book, but trust me, we're doing it anyway. I remember when I was you want to do Shalom Aleichem with me, or shall we?
Sure.
Let's do it. We had talked about it, I just forgot to put it in the program. So when I was a student, I remember back in Jerusalem, we always used to talk about how traditionally you go to services, you go to shul, and then on your way back home, you're singing Shalom Aleichem on the way back home. And so this is one of those classics, a beautiful classic song we remember from years ago in the synagogue, but it's been part of our experience for even longer than that. Page 142, Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Lishalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni Lishalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Say etchem Lishalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Love that song. 146, Baruch Hu. Would everyone please rise?
Yai, 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 yai,
praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv, Aravim. Page 152, Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We're on the next page, 154. Join us.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha beveitecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shochbecha u'v'kumecha, u'kshartam leot aliyadecha, v'hayu letotafot ben einecha, u'chtavtam, Al mezuzot beitecha u'v'sha'arecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet.
I have talked about before that since October 7th, I feel as if this reading has taken on a new level of meaning for me, and I'd like to think for a more extended community as well. It's the reading on page 157. Feel free to join me, please. Top of the page. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching
together.
I love that reading because for various different reasons, the fact that it speaks about that we have a better place we're trying to get to, but the winding way to that promise, it goes there, passes through the wilderness. In other words, it's not an easy path to get to a place where we want to go. But one thing is for sure, that we'll never get there unless we feel like we're linked and connected. And so that reading, which I always just kind of liked, but never felt like it truly spoke to me, except for in the last year. We continue with Micha Mocha, page 158.
Adonai
many people, so many faiths have these blessings and prayers that you say right before you go to sleep. I'm sure that whether you did it or not, you can remember maybe either watching on TV or hearing people say to you right before, when you were a kid, before you go to sleep, someone would say, or you've heard, have you said your prayers yet? We have not necessarily something, actually Shema is what you're supposed to say right before you go to bed, but if not that, we certainly have a prayer which is intended for lay me down quietly and peacefully to bed tonight and wake me up tomorrow morning renewed and refreshed and rejuvenated. It's a prayer that we call Hashki Venu. It's on page 160.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ושלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
On 165, really one of a really important prayer reading in our prayer book, it goes, prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city, but prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. On the previous page, 164, Adonai Sifatai Tiftach is how we begin the Tefillah section of our service, which is on 164, 166, 168, and then 170. And I invite you to please rise. What's that?
Nice covenant. Adonai, Ananana Svatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agil Tehilatecha, Ananana Adonai, Ananana Svatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agil Tehilatecha, Ananana Adonai, Ananana Svatai Tiftach, Ananana Ufi Agil Tehilatecha. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Leah, Elohei Rachel, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומשמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. So we are, the page number we're on now is on page 198. So we are fast forwarding outside of the evening service, going to one line of the morning service. This is something, by the way, Maggie is going to be chanting for us tomorrow morning at her bat mitzvah. This is one of the many expressions she'll be chanting for us tomorrow, but the reason why we are singing this now, and it's on 198, it's 3 down, it's the third prayer in the page. And it's Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, which means we praise you, Adonai, our God, who frees the captives. And as long as that we have breath in our lungs, then we are going to be thinking about, praying for, and working towards the return of those who are in captivity in Gaza. And we won't be whole until they are whole in some way or another. And so, Baruch atah Adonai matir asurim.
Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim, Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim, Baruch atah Eloheinu melech haolam, matir asurim, matir asurim.
with Shalom Rav, our evening prayer for peace. So we're now back in the evening service. It's on page 178, I think. And Shalom Rav, yeah.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. B'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Mashalom.
So feel free to put your siddur, your prayer book down. But unless you feel so needy, hold on to it. I'm not going to stop. If it feels comfortable in your hands, I'm not going to stop. But this is the part of our service when we just stop for a moment and we depart from the keva of our service, which is the routine or the written down, fixed part, and then we just kind of go to the kavanah, which is the spontaneous or what's in our hearts. And so with a nice intimate congregation here this evening, we have the capacity to share only if you want to, but we do so by sharing joys and then struggles. But if you'd like to share a little joy, we always start with joy. And all you have to do is raise your hand, and I'm going to call on you, and you can tell us a little bit about your joy. Go ahead, Helene.
Sure, we talked to Nathan also, but we had a wonderful end of Sukkot, Shvi Atzeret, Simchas Torah with my daughter and my son-in-law and my 10 grandchildren who are Orthodox. So it was a lot of praying going on.
Wait, hold on, time out 1 second. Your daughter has 10 children?
Yeah, they range in age from 6 to 23. Our daughters.
Well, I knew that. That was just, but wait a minute. I mean, I always thought that we were part of a special needs family when we had 4. That's like insane. Do they have like a passenger van that they drive, or how do they get it?
Yeah, they used to.
Or a school bus?
Yeah, no, they had a large van.
Yeah.
She had gone to the, Costco, and she came out, and she had just gotten this big white van, and she was trying to get with her key, and she was so frustrated. She looked around, there was all these other work vans that did exactly the same.
That's right. I mean, well, regardless of how insane it is to have 10 kids and a huge family like that, still, I'm glad you had the nice experience of being with them.
Certainly reap the benefits of
That's right. It's beautiful, just insane. Beautiful and insane at the same time. Anybody else want to share a little joy? Yeah, Lisa. Oh. Wow. Orlando. I totally understand. But still, it's so sweet to have her here. I'm so glad. So between having the joy of a son-in-law, a daughter, and 10 grandkids, I think that's called joy. I'm not exactly. That's joy. That's right. And then, of course, the joy of having a mom kidnapped to escape the hurricane, but staying up here since. Let's join together. So again, we're just going to sing the words "Can Ye He," which means "May it be." Can ye he? Can ye he? Can ye he? Can ye he? Anybody else got a little joy? Jeff.
My son goes to school in Tampa, Florida. He too was stuck in a hurricane and was able to get out. My mother was in Delray Beach, across the other side of the state. So, being that our family is apart, happy he could spend the week.
With her? No, for sure. For sure. That's always nice to know. Anybody else want to share joy? Yes, Carrie.
It was my birthday, and I had 7 layers Southern chocolate cake with frosting. It was delicious. I hung out at home with my 2 kids. I don't have 10 kids. And in sweatpants and ate cake. Very simple.
No, that's joy for sure. If it makes you happy, you know what I mean? It's like, no, that's the introvert in you, which is you don't want to be partying, you just want to be sitting in your sweatpants eating cake. Totally understand that. That's more like me too. Happy birthday. Never mind. Happy birthday. Well, that's a little younger than I had thought, but still, I'm going with it. Joy. Tell me more, Joy. Right? It is a sweet, it is a sweet, when I say sweet, as if to say, like, I understand that there are sweets involved, but that is the whole Halloween thing has never really been totally my thing, but we were out there, we made a little fire in the fire pit, and we just kind of sat and watched these kids come by, and it is very sweet to see them coming. And to kind of meet some of the people in the neighborhood that I didn't even, truth is I didn't recognize anybody who came by, which either means that people from other neighborhoods are coming, or I'm just completely out of touch with the people in my neighborhood. I know, they're not at all. Anyway, I'm so glad that it was a nice experience, both of them. Anybody else want to share joy? All right, one last time. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? Baruch atah Adonai gomel chasadim tovim. We praise you, Adonai our God, for partnering with us in the various joys that are in our lives. Amen. So now let's flip it. We recognize that there are loved ones of ours, maybe we ourselves, who do not have a sense of wholeness and shalom, and we're struggling with pain, whether it's physical pain or emotional pain, and we have a blessing that we say. And just in case you are curious, I do not believe that these words themselves bring healing. So, because if I did, then I would just spend the entire time, all services long, just saying the words over and over again until you got healed. I don't believe it. But what I do believe, very much so, is that uttering these words with other people, it gives you strength. It gives you a little feeling of connection. It reminds you that you're not alone in this. It reminds you that struggles, being able to share struggles with others truly, truly helps. And so I do believe that the words to this prayer matter. I do believe that the words to this prayer, even to some degree, work, but not in the way that you think that they do, that just by saying them, it's some sort of magical voodoo. Don't believe that. But still, we've been doing this for years, and I wouldn't keep doing it if I didn't truly believe in it. So I'm going to begin this blessing called Misha Berach, and then I'm going to pause halfway through, and I'm going to give you a chance to share a name of a loved one who is in need of healing. And then we'll finish the blessing up and then sing. So the blessing starts this way. Misha Berach Avotenu, Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov, v'imotenu Sarah Rivka Leah v'Rachel. That means may the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Leah, and Rachel, Hu Yivarech v'Yirapet Kol HaCholim Shelanu. May God bless and heal all of our loved ones who are in need of healing, especially the ones whom we name at this time. And so why don't we just start here, and I'll just look around, and if you want to share a name of someone in need of healing, feel free to do so.
Tina Weininger and little Pesach Schwartz, who's my brother. He was in intensive care with RSVs, like 2 or 3 weeks old. The whole hospital was just filled, the NICU was just filled with babies. So my prayers go out to all of them.
Yeah.
He's home now.
Thankful.
And believe me, lots and lots of people are praying for him.
That's right. So, thank you.
Steve Lamb, that friend from high school.
Yeah.
Suffering terribly.
So sorry. Please. Yeah. Thanks. I just want to add a few more names. Allison Herman, Shlomo David ben Nechama, Yirmiyahu Peretz ben Shoshana, Shoshana Rivka bat Zipporah, Zachary Meyer, Ronnie Meyer, and excuse me, Laura Rocco. Yishlach lahem bimheira refuah shalema. May God send them speedily a complete recovery. Refuat ha-nefesh v'refuat ha-guf, healing of body and a healing of spirit. B'toch sha'ar cholei Yisrael, amongst all who are in need of healing. V'nomar, amen. And let us say, amen. So page 371. That's 371 is where you find the words to Misha Berach.
עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן.
I would like to share with you a brief story, which possibly you have heard before. I know I have told this story in the past year, but there's a part of me which thinks I may have told it for a younger audience. I'm not exactly sure. Regardless, it's a really worthy story, and then I'm going to explain to you why I told you the story. So it's a story of two men in a hospital, right? So one man was forced to stay lying down. They shared a room in a hospital, they shared a room, they each had their own beds, in a hospital, and one was forced to stay lying down the entire time, and one was able to, 1 hour a day, sit up. The man who was sitting, had 1 hour a day that he could sit up, had occupied the bed by the window. The man who was lying down the entire time was inside the room, couldn't see out the window. And these two men truly got to know each other. They cared for each other very much. They talked all the time. They shared stories about their families. They shared stories about what it was like for them growing up. They were both in the military. They shared their stories about being in the military. And they also, during that time, and I guess at other times as well, but mostly during that 1 hour that man was able to sit up, they talked about what was going on outside the window. And so the one man lying down would listen, the other man sitting up would describe. I see a park. It's a beautiful, beautiful view. I see a park, and right there in the closest part of that park is a lake. And inside this lake, you can see people who have little boats that are sailing their little boats on the lake. And then there are ducks in the lake. You can see flowers blooming all around it, lovers walking hand in hand. It's an absolutely beautiful, beautiful sight. There are trees, and you can even see the skyline of the city if you look closely. And the two men loved talking about what they saw outside. The one who was stuck lying down in bed, he lived for that hour every day. He cherished that hour. And he would close his eyes and imagine exactly what the first man was saying to him. And it was in a really important and significant hour of the day. And this happened day after day. And these two men truly got to know each other, cared for each other very much. And one day, while the second man, who was lying flat on his back the entire time, must have been sleeping or something, the first man was transferred. He was transferred out of that room to a different place. And that our friend, the man, was by himself in the room now. And he requested that the nurse would just move him over to the other bed. He wanted to be near the window. And there was, at one particular moment, he decided that he was going to just work up the strength. He was going to lift himself up, and he was going to look out that window and see if what he imagined, what was described for him, was, in fact, what it was like. And so the time came, he lifted himself up. He looked out the window. And what did he see? A wall. And he called the nurse and he said, "Nurse, there is some huge mistake here. For weeks and weeks, I have been hearing stories about the park outside, and the flowers and the trees and the lovers and the ducks and the boats and the skyline and the whole thing. And it's a wall here. There's nothing to see. What was going on with that man?" And the nurse said, "That man was blind. He was just trying to encourage you, to get you to the point where you could lift yourself up and look out the window." It's a sweet story. Now, why am I telling you this? Because now we're going from the story to an insight or a thought, which I think is going to surprise you. Well, it's going to surprise anyone who knows a little about the Torah. If you know a lot about the Torah, maybe it won't surprise you. If you know anywhere between a little and a lot of Torah, then it might surprise you. So, I suppose in order to do this, this week's Torah portion is called Noach. And Noach, if you take out the ch part, you get Noah. And in fact, this week's Torah portion is about Noah, the ark, the animals 2 by 2. You know what I'm talking about. By the way, it has a great story of the Tower of Babel in it. I have, from time to time, been referred to as a Tower of Babel. Yeah, I know, right, exactly. You got it there. Okay, so, but here's the thing. Those two great stories, Noah's Ark and the Tower of Babel, yes, are in it. But there is a part at the very end of this Torah portion. When I say the very end, I'm talking about the last 2 verses of this Torah portion. And what's even more important is that I share with you next week's Torah portion. So here's the part. This is where the surprise comes. So next week's Torah portion is called Lech Lecha. And again, if you know a little Torah up until a lot, if you know a lot, maybe you know this already. If you know a little Torah up until a lot, you probably know that Lech Lecha is the story about how Abraham got called to go to Canaan. Right? Lech Lecha, go forth from your land, from your homeland, from your father's house, from your native land, and go to this place that I will show you, Abraham. And Lech Lecha is thought of as like the beginning of the Jewish experience. Abraham's the first Jew, and God calls out to Abraham and go settle into Canaan. You know, this is the special request that I make of you. Is this story, that part, mildly familiar to you? I hope it is. Because the surprise comes when you read the last two verses of our Torah portion. And the last two verses of our Torah portion, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have it memorized word for word, but it says that Terach is Abram's father. It's Abram at this point. He's not Abraham yet, but same guy, Abraham's father. And it says that Terach took his son Abram and his grandson Lot and and Abraham's wife Sarah. And it goes on to say, remember, this is talking about Terach, father of Abraham. And it says that Terach set off with Abraham, Sarah, and Lot for the land of Canaan. But when he reached Haran, he stopped there. So the Torah is very clear. It says that Terach and Abraham were on their way to Canaan. But something got in the way. I can tell you probably what it was. It was that Terach's son Haran, also named Haran, who is Abraham's brother, died. And Terach stopped in Haran in this location and didn't go further. But his plan was to go to Canaan. That same place that we think was that special location that God called Abram to go to. Actually, Abraham was going there all along with his dad. And so now let's go back to that story that I told you about the blind man who described the outdoors and just as using his imagination, but did so for the purposes of encouraging our friend so he could at one point pick himself up and begin that process of healing. And in truth, sometimes all we need is a little bit of encouragement, a little bit of support to help us get from place A to place B. And who knows this better than God? And why? Because even though Abraham and his father Terach were heading for Canaan in the first place, things got in the way, life got in the way, and they had to stop. And they had to stop and live and set up a shingle in Haran. But then God turns to Abraham and says, you know what, Abraham? You've been here for a little while now. Time for you to get back and do this mission that I had you going on in the first place. In other words, Abraham just needed a little bit of encouragement, a little kick in the tush to say, this is what you were doing. Now come on, finish it. You got this. And I think that on many levels, this Torah portion reminds us of something that is so really human, and that is our need to be encouraged when we kind of lose our way. It happens to all of us. We all have big plans. We all have 5-year plans, 10-year plans, who knows? And we all know that that's a joke. A 5-year plan is a joke. A 10-year plan is a total joke. We have no idea what's coming between now and that point. And the best we can do is just keep marching forward. What is the expression? We plan, God laughs. But just because we plan and God laughs, it doesn't mean that our plans have to end. It just means that sometimes we need a little help getting back on that horse again. And our Torah portion, connected with next week's Torah portion, reminds us of just how critical and important it is to be there with words of encouragement and support, kindness and connection. So I hope that if there's one thing you experience from this, it is just one thing, and that is that if you are disappointed in yourself, because you had high plans to do something and you never did it. Here's Rabbi Goldstein telling you, you got this. Give it a try again. I'm giving you a little encouragement, a little support, a little kick in the tush, telling you that it's not too late. Thank you for listening. We're on page 586. And on page 586, we continue with Aleinu. And I'd like to invite you to please rise. 586. There we go. All right, ready. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol.
Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad.
Please be seated. This is the part of our service when we bring to mind loved ones who are no longer with us. We especially remember loved ones from our congregation who have passed away. One passed away quite recently, and others passed away over the years on this Shabbat, and we call it their yard site. And so allow me to share with you first this one loved one, and we're still in the period of Shloshim, for Carol Jason. Carol was the mother of Seth Jason. And these loved ones whose yard sites occur on the Shabbat, again, it's their anniversary of their passing, Joseph Baresi IV, Celia Nezin, Samuel Miller, Bernard Lofgraven, Lee Clavins, Marie Wilk, Antoinette Augustin, Elaine Elenoff, Arthur Katz, Vicki Littman, Hirsch Loeb Julius, Paula Kugelman, Stephen Landis, David Rosenblum, William Weintraub, and Elaine Stoller. And so in gratitude for their lives and linking their names with the rest of our loved ones, we remember them now with the words of our prayer called the Kaddish. If it is your custom, I invite you to rise. We're on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechal beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach li'alam u'lamei al-maya, yivarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitalei v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu. Lamin kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, da'amiram bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Osei shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to every bereaved heart. Amen. Please be seated. Thank you. So, we are nearing the conclusion of our service. The final song, closing song, is Adon Olam, and that's on 625. However, we have a few things to do before Adon Olam on 625. For example, allow me just to share with you a few words of thanks to Jerry Falk for serving as an usher for us this evening. Thank you so much. Abraham Osawiki for sponsoring the Oneg Shabbat. Thank you so much to Abraham. A few announcements, like Maggie's bat mitzvah tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Really psyched about that. If you want to watch, you can come, or you could just watch via the live stream. Let me tell you about something else. Canner Snyder is offering 3 90-minute sessions on how to chant the Torah. Wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa. So it's believe it or not as hard as you think it is. Believe it or not, if you want to know a few tricks of the craft, just take a look at the Via Hafta in the prayer book, and it has the musical trope marks in there, and you can at least get 50% just by knowing the Via Hafta. Maybe more than 50%.
Yeah, no, you already know most of it.
Right.
It's just putting names to things.
That's right.
Yeah.
So not so hard. Now, of course, it would help if you know how to read Hebrew. So if you don't know how to read Hebrew, that's probably the first step. Then you could do this. But you get my point. Not so hard for those who can read and decipher Hebrew. So the weekly email. By the way, everything I mentioned is in the weekly email. Annual appeal has begun. The men's club will match any donation up to $3,500, and the sisterhood will match any donation up to $6,000. I suspect what that really means is they'll match a total of $3,500, and the sisterhood will match a total of $6,000.
I don't know.
I
think if everybody in the room gives $6,000
then
tonight,
the sisterhood's
right. On the hook for a lot of money.
$120,000. I don't think that's what it is.
I think that's exactly what it is.
I'm manifesting
I think we're going to hold them to that.
Right.
Yeah.
It reads like that, but I'm pretty sure it's like that's the limit. But hey, you know what? I'm going to look into it. The 2 classes that I teach, Torah study on Monday mornings at 9:30, the Sages class on Tuesday evenings at 7 p.m. continued this week. If you've never been, totally welcome to come. It's not like you have to have come to previous ones to be at the current ones. And it's also available on Zoom and stream. No, not stream, just Zoom, if you wish. Friday, November 15th, Tat Shabbat, congregational dinner, which is Italian night. Ooh. I know. And then the family service, Makela. So all this, if you want to come to the dinner, you have to RSVP, so please do so. The Love Tea with Freedom and Hope is the Sisterhood Tea experience on November 17th. See the weekly email for information. In fact, everything you want to know about is in the weekly email. I have said plenty. Okay, so thank you all for being here. We are going to conclude with Motzi and then Adon Olam again on 625. So, Maggie, why don't you come up? You can come up solo this time for Motzi. All right, join us. This is good looking. I can tell that that's a good looking challah. That's homey. You ready to do this?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
All right, don't take from that. That's a bad quote. Take from the middle. Here, I'll show you how to do it. I'm a professional. I went to rabbinical school. I know all about how to get a good piece of challah. Take one for yourself.
Adon Olam, page 625.
I'll just talk about the challah. You guys do a good one.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra V'nasa B'chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Ve'hu Haya בתפארה. אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל יציר נברא, לעין עשה וחפצו כל, אזי מלך שמו נקרא. ואחרי ככלות הכל, לבדו ימלוך נורא, והוא היה והוא הווה, והוא יהיה בתפארה. שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך, שבת שלום, שבת שלום, שבת שלום ומבורך.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much for being here and look forward to seeing you out in the lobby for an Oneg Shabbat. Nice job.
Thank you.
Shabbat Shalom Mevorach. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom.